Talking Points with Keith Vaz, celebrating diversity. Leica, London.
Welcome back. This is Keith Vaz on Talking Points on Leica Radio. My next special guest on the program is Varsha Jain. She's an award-winning documentary filmmaker, content creator, scriptwriter, lyricist, author. She was on the jury at a reality show. She was an empaneled member at the International Film Festival, and much more. Other than what I've just described, she's been adding value to her family business of cosmetic manufacturing and international brands of personal care. She's an expert in market and distribution. She's an expert in marketing and distribution of independent films, as well as its related operations, and a content curator at a global level. We pinned her down. So let's go over to Mumbai and talk to Varsha Jain. Good morning, or should I say to you, good afternoon, Varsha Jain.
Good afternoon, Keith. It's so nice that you've had me on your show. Thank you for that.
Well, what I find remarkable about your career is that your early life, your childhood, did not indicate that you were going to do multiple things when you finally started your career. What inspired you to pursue multiple fields of work?
Well, I think my childhood has been unique in its own way. I come from a family of 3 sisters, and my dad was a very dynamic industrialist, and my mom was a very creative, talented, but like a homemaker, nurturing, taking care of all of us. But the good thing was that as girls, my dad was always the kind that you are my boys, you are my girls, come what may, you got to stand up for yourself. So I think it kind of stems from there, the confidence, the conviction to do things. And like you rightly observed that, while I was a kid, I wouldn't have even imagined that I would be doing so many things, leave alone the film industry. But I've moved on, I've gone with life, I followed my gut instinct, and what life got my way, I kept rolling with that. And I think no looking back, I'm happy with whatever exposures and experiences and decisions that I may have taken along. So much more enriched and so much more evolved.
Now, in those days, of course, apart from the inspiring life of Indira Gandhi, gender was not an issue that people were concerned about. Nowadays, of course, being a woman, businessman, entrepreneur, all the stuff that you've done, it's kind of natural now, isn't it? You seem to have been pushed quite strongly by your parents, especially your dad, to understand that women and men are equal. And if a man can be the chairman of a successful company, so can a woman. Do you think you get that from your family background?
Yes, definitely. I get that very, very strongly from my family background. But, unfortunately, what I find so contradictory and as a global phenomenon, in fact, I have had interacted with women from Europe and Africa and United States of America and everywhere. Like, there's a very common sentiment that women, irrespective of how dynamic, how enterprising, how talented they are, there is still a disparity. There is still the patriarchal texture which does go. But I think it's time the women, they've become determined and confident, and they're making path-breaking things that they have been, going with. And it's amazing even how the government encourages world over now. The women empowerment is so much driven by women and supported by women. And also now people are sitting up and hearing up to it and supporting the whole initiative, So that's nice, yeah.
Now, I've read out a litany of things that you do, from winning awards for documentary filmmaking to being impaneled on an international jury. Of all those things that you've done, is there one that you've enjoyed the most? Because one of the things about being like you, the universal woman doing so many things, is that you kind of don't go after one particular thing. Of all those things I've described, if I say today you're going to do this, what is it going to be? What's the one that you've really enjoyed doing?
I think being empaneled or judging a reality show or, being with festivals is really exciting, because you meet so many filmmakers from world over. You see young talent. You see people with, that twinkle in their eyes and, looking at making their names. And I have a very strong philanthropic side. So I think it just helps me reach out to them, help them, guide them. And on the professional side of life, I think distribution of films is something really exciting for me. So a lot of independent filmmakers are unable to reach out their good projects to the right platforms and theaters and, music labels and all of that. And I think my 20 years of experience and network in the industry helps me find the right way to take these projects, not just in India, but even to other continents and, globally in that sense.
This is Keith Vaz on Talking Points on Leica Radio. I'm in conversation with the dynamic Varsha Jain, the CEO and founder of Mighty Right Media. When we come back, we're going to be talking about her health scare, her battle with cancer, and also any advice she has for any filmmakers listening to the program. Join us then.
Keith Vaz on Talking Points, Leica.
Welcome back. This is Keith Vaz on Talking Points on Leica Radio. I'm talking to Varsha Jain, CEO and founder of Mighty Right Media. Varsha, you have gone through one of the worst things that anyone can go through, which is being diagnosed with cancer and then fighting cancer. How did you do that? How on earth did you survive this?
Well, I think it's my love for life, and just say high on life. I just believe in being a very optimistic person, and so even while I was going through all of that craziness of being operated, major surgeries and, chemotherapy, but I stood strong for my family. And the good side of all of these adversities, I always believe that adversities can bring out the best in us or the worst in us. So it's in our hands what we want to make our life out of it, And I think it was this adversity which brought out the best in me. That's when I discovered my writing talent. That's when I started writing poetry and songs and stories. And, I was always creative since a kid, but that's when I really discovered my true talent. And then I went to film school. And again, there's been no looking back. Done 12 documentaries and written for 4 feature films and written around 6 songs for Bollywood films. For me, it came as a blessing, despite all the hell that I went through. It was a blessing because I found meaning and purpose in life. And I felt that if I'm back and alive, meaning I'm here for bigger things. That's how it was.
Now, you must have met some very, very famous people in your life when you were either script writing or as a judge or creating content. Of all of them, and, I'm putting you on the spot here, which one really did you think that guy or that woman is amazing? Who's your favorite celebrity?
So honestly, I have 2 favorite celebrities. One is Jackie Shroff and one is Anil Kapoor, because both of them are so grounded, so simple, so amazing as human beings. And I think it was amazing working with them. I was on the same jury with Anil Kapoor for the reality show. So that's how interacting with him, and even a couple of times later after that. And the film that I had written for was Jackie Shroff was acting in it. And that's when you work closely, you realize that there's so much of depth and character in people like them, humility despite their successes, and that's what I really appreciate. There are a whole lot of others whom I may have met along the way, but I think these 2 do leave a mark of impression,
You've done so many things in your life. You're a writer, filmmaker, you are someone who obviously is able to judge talent when you see it. Do you think these kinds of careers can be taught? Can you be taught filmmaking? Or is this something that you learn through experience? Are you the kind of person who, in your everyday life, say you're getting a cup of coffee in Mumbai, somebody says something funny, you get your little notebook out or your phone and you write it down? Do you think it can be taught, or do you think it's a natural born thing?
Honestly, I think it's something which we are born with, but then everything needs polishing and its skill needs to be developed further. So definitely in terms of writing, it's something which, you are born with some basic creative flair. But overall, when you speak about filmmaking, I think it's a talent and skill which can be acquired. You don't need to be necessarily be born with it. If you've trained well and if you touch and explore your inner self and evolve and you work with compassion and a lot of passion and a lot of depth of vision, then I'm sure even excellent filmmakers are born. Though we've had all our Guru Dutt and all of those amazing filmmakers who just were born with the talent, but still it's something we can acquire. I went to film school. That's when I discovered that my writing, the techniques I learned for script writing, the way it should, the flow, the speed, the pace, that's all a talent I acquired after going to film school. I wouldn't have learned it on my own, even from watching films. So it's very important. Education always adds value to our lives. I always believe in that.
Now, we have to come to the end of this fascinating talk this morning. In the future, I'm absolutely certain there's going to be a film about the life of Varsha Jain. If there is, if there is, and they come to you and they say to you, you've had a remarkable life, we're going to do a film about your life, which is the actress who you would like to play yourself in the official bio of Varsha Jane?
Well, I'm so amazed to hear that question because I think it exists somewhere in my subconscious mind as well as conscious mind to write a film on my own life because it's just been so colorful and, it's been like adventurous. And I do have two people, either Vidya Balan or Kajol, who could play me in my bio.
Varsha, it's been absolutely wonderful talking to you today. We always ask our special guests to choose a song that means something special to them and to dedicate it to someone special. Which song would you like to choose and to whom would you like to dedicate it to?
Well, that's a question where I would have loved some multiple songs, but since it's just one song to go with, that song that, intrigues me so much is Ek Hasina Thi from Karz. We could either play that, and when you say dedicate to someone, well, I think we could go with Papa Kehte Hain Bada Naam Karega, because I think I was very inspired by that song and I wanted to make my dad proud of becoming something someday. So maybe, yes, I will dedicate it to him, Papa Kehte Hain.
Well, it's been great talking to you. I hope you have a wonderful Sunday and that you come back and talk to us again very soon. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Keith. Thank you for having me on your show, and best wishes to all the listeners of Leica Radio.
Let's hear the remarkable Varsha A. Jane's song.
दोस्तों, आज कॉलेज का आखिरी दिन है और आने वाली जिंदगी के लिए सभी ने कुछ न कुछ सोच रखा है, लेकिन मैंने अपने लिए कुछ नहीं सोचा है। नो रियली, आई मीन इट। और आज मुझे बार बार एक ही ख्याल आ रहा है। पापा कहते हैं बड़ा नाम करेगा, बेटा हमारा ऐसा काम करेगा, मगर ये तो कोई न जाने कि मेरी मंजिल है कहाँ। पापा कहते हैं बड़ा नाम करेगा, बेटा हमारा ऐसा काम करेगा, मगर ये तो कोई न जाने कि मेरी मंजिल है कहाँ। पापा कहते हैं बड़ा नाम करेगा। बैठे हैं मिलके सब यार अपने, सबके दिलों में अरमा ये है। बैठे हैं मिलके सब यार अपने, सबके दिलों में अरमा ये है। वो जिंदगी में कल क्या बनेगा, हर एक नजर का सपना ये है। कोई इंजीनियर